Hey, welcome to DJI's Aerial Quad channel. Now, today we are in another town going south down Highway 67. This is Farmington, Missouri, as you can read there on the tower. Unfortunately, I got a screen recording, but the audio did not capture. So, you're hearing DJI from the edit room, and I'll do my best to remember what exactly we had going on here. So this is the more southern western part of Farmington, the actual city. There's a strip mall there. That's where I am parked. There's a McDonald's, a Dairy Queen, and gas station. And we had driven south from the last video was Deloge, and we missed golden hour. We were unfortunately on the road during golden hour. So here I am flying just past dark, or sundown I should say, and we are just going to tool around the lovely little town here of Farmington. Now, directly in front of us, that is another prison. Neither of those water towers are branded because the prison didn't want to claim them, I suppose. So this whole complex here, you can see the fence going around it. Well, now we're looking south for some reason. That's a water treatment plant down there. Know a little bit about this town, but not a ton. But yes, right here, everything we are looking at is the prison. So certainly don't want to be flying directly overhead there. Do not wish to be on a list. But they've got 2 water towers for the prison. That's 2 prisons in this small area of eastern Missouri. Kind of interesting. And I do believe this is another small offshoot of the prison. Now, right in front of us, that is Farmington's high school. And they got their football field there, Farmington Knights. And right across the street there with a more green roof, that is what they call the Centene Center. It is a performing arts center. It is frequently rented out by groups and things that are not affiliated directly with the school. I've seen a few shows down there before. And another little view of the prison. And beyond the prison, Farmington has a small airport. You could see the runway there. I don't recall if we're going to zoom in on that. Maybe, yeah, there we are. Yep, so you can see the runway. And I checked. At this moment, I am stopped. And I am looking at my phone at AirAware because it did not tell me anything about this being a restricted airspace when I took off. And I always glance at things before, and I didn't see any restricted airspace around here. But AirAware shows that there's an airport here, but there's no restriction to fly. So here we are. I checked a couple times just to make sure. Do not want to be getting in trouble with this bad boy. No filter, of course, by this time of night on the Mini 5 Pro. No reason for any kind of filter. Nice baseball field, some tennis courts. I don't know if Farmington has gotten into the pickleball. I know some other towns have either changed their tennis courts to pickleball courts or they've added on additional. But pickleball sure has blown up lately. Here we've got another Farmington water tower, and we are 1 mile out. So that tower they're proud of. They'll label that one. And I believe the next thing we're doing here is we're going more into old downtown Farmington. I believe the town is older than Highway 67. So before there was a bigger highway running through, this was the main attraction. But sort of like the Bonne Terre and Deloge earlier in this little series, they've got some of that more early to mid 20th century construction. A lot of brick buildings, some edifice things. They took more care in the appearance of construction longer ago. Now they take more concern about, other things, which are also important. You need to have safe places that aren't going to fall down. I guess you don't want your house and your business to fall down, whatever. But they don't look as cool. Yeah, I don't think we're going to make it out to that water tower we're looking at right now. We might try, I don't remember, but I don't think we did. It was already sketchy enough signal. I think what we're going to do instead here is travel down this. This is sort of the main thoroughfare here, and this part of Farmington is called Karsh. So we're going to travel down Karsh and take a look at all the things. Looking at that gas station for some reason. Of course, just past McDonald's, there's, what is that, a Wendy's, and all the normal trappings of a Midwest small town. A Culver's. You've got to have a Culver's and a BK, Arby's, Lowe's. Taco Bell. Yeah, Lowe's. I've got a story about Lowe's. So in Farmington, I had some friends there in high school. This hill right here that we're zoomed in on, I had gone sledding there. You can see there's a little bit of snow right there now. But I went sledding there with my friends who were in Farmington once when, roads were fine, but there was still plenty of snow. Had a little orange sled I was sitting on, and went down the hill a few times. Fine, no problem. The last time, and maybe about the last time I've ever been on a sled snowing, or wow, on a sled in the snow, I went off something of a ramp that I could not see. And yeah, I got a little airborne, landed down there on the concrete, and I was pretty confident that I had broken my tailbone. I thought I'd broken my butt. I couldn't move for a while. I just had to lie there and ponder life. So, as it turns out, I don't think I broke my butt. It's hard to say for sure, but it works now, so I guess it's okay. All right, go across the street here. It's a little strip mall. Si Senor Mexican Grill. Assuming it's half as good as it was years ago when I went there. 10 out of 10 if you're in Farmington. Go to Si Senor. Excellent stuff. Maybe it's terrible now. I don't know. But I'm going to hope not. And I'm going to assume that it's still very good and that it's worth your time and that you should go there. What we got here? We got a Sonic on the right, an entire place. Something is lit up very nice and bright and purple there. There's an Applebee's. Just all the things of a small Midwest town. When I say small, it's probably about 12 to 15,000 people. Okay, I'm zooming in on this little strip mall. Used to be a CC's Pizza in there, and it doesn't look like there is now. They've got a Penny's. CC's. I missed that. Don't get many of those in this part of the country anymore, or really anywhere. I don't know where the last one I've seen was that was open, or when. If you know where CC's still has any restaurants operating, let me know. CC you later. What else we got? We got Aldi's. Looks like another tire place. The big ones there. Yeah, down there we've got Rural King and Hobby Lobby. For Rural King, you can think Buckeyes, you know, more rural than Lowe's or Home Depot, but similar vein. There's a Menards over there. We got a Schnucks right beneath us. And we're going to try to get over here to this chunky water tower. A little bit more famous. You see it from from 67 all the time. And we will make it to this one. Yes, Farmington, tradition and progress. Very good. And you can see from the lights, it is getting pretty dark. Beautiful sky. Mid-February evening. This was a Thursday night. I just had a wild hair to drive down the road and go flying. Some towns I hadn't flown before. There's a nice little pond. You can see Highway 67. There's a good long stretch here. It turns once you get south of town, and then there's something like a 15-mile straight, like arrow straight. I always wish I had like a Bugatti or a McLaren or something when I drive down there. Just open the throttle and go. Speed limit on this highway is either 60 or 65, depending on where you are. And it makes it feel like a very long straightaway when you can't turn up a little bit, you know. You see Rural King down there on the right, Hobby Lobby right in the center, of course. I like the Rural King. It's just different enough. I think it's typically a little bigger than Buckeyes. They don't have as much of a focus on like lumber and other contractor stuff as Buckeye or Lowe's or Home Depot or Menards. Menards certainly has that focus. Bought a workbench from this Menards once. Just barely fit in my car, in its pre-assembled form. Certainly wouldn't fit now. And there's some apartments. I applied for a job in Farmington back early in my career, and those apartments were about the only place I could find when I was just knocking around that I could actually get into. HUD housing is very strange, where in like the first years of a non-particularly lucrative career, you make too much money to live in housing that is not, to live in housing that is managed by HUD. That's a little bit of an odd thing. But I ended up not taking that job, so it's okay. All right, there's a beautiful pond out there with the reflection, the sunset. You gotta love a place like this on a night like this. Look at those lines of hay bales. Goodness. Yeah, auto settings on the Mini 5 Pro. Mentioned this in the last video or two. As you get the sky in and out of the shot, it adjusts the brightness quite a bit. Just we'll roll back on over here to where we started, the industrial park of Farmington. This was the last flight. I only did 3 different spots because I'd run out of sunlight. On the way home, I experimented and took a different path. I didn't take Highway 67. Went up through a whole bunch of back roads that I'd never been on before. It was kind of interesting. Probably would have been better in the bright when I could have, seen things. I was just following the roads and the map. Yeah, there is about where we started. And right here at this intersection up here to the right, it's interesting. Right there is where I came in, right there in the center. And I rolled around. To get out, I was going to have to go right around this ring road where that car is to the right side of the frame now. And that's the only way to get out of here. That was different. And then, of course, they've got one of those silly bridges where you end up on the wrong side of the road. I'm sure it makes sense on a spreadsheet or a computer model somewhere, but I don't get it. And then were some emergency vehicles here, or some utility vehicles, and I drove past. I never did figure out what they were working on. The stoplight was working, so it wasn't like the light was flashing or messed up. But they're on up the street a ways. So that remains a mystery. I think that barn-shaped gas station there is called like the Convenience Barn or something. I liked it. Almost enough to stop, but not quite. Not when there's Casey's on the way back. And you know about Casey's and their pizza. Well, that's been beautiful Farmington, Missouri, here on a February day. Thanks for watching Dejuan's Aerial Quad channel, and I do hope that I see you next time.